the parable called the Judgment of the Nations from Matthew 25. Now when the human one comes in his majesty and all his angels are with him, he will sit on his majestic throne. All the nations will be gathered in front of him. He will separate them from each other, just as a shepherd separates the sheep from the goats. He will put the sheep on his right side, but the goats he will put on his left. Then the king will say to those on his right, "Come, you will receive good things from my Father. Inherit the kingdom that was prepared for you before the world began. I was hungry, and you gave me food to eat. I was thirsty, and you gave me a drink. I was a stranger, and you welcomed me. I was naked, and you gave me clothes to wear. I was sick, and you took care of me. I was in prison, and you visited me." Then those who are righteous will reply to him, "Lord, when did we see you hungry and feed you, or thirsty and give you drink? When did we see you as a stranger and welcome you, or naked and give you clothes to wear? When did we see you sick or in prison and visit you?" Then the king will reply to them, "I assure you that when you have done it for one of the least of these, my brothers and sisters of mine, you have done it for me." Then he will say to those on his left, "Get away from me. You will receive terrible things. Go into the unending fire that has been prepared for the devil and his angels. I was hungry, and you didn't give me food to eat. I was thirsty, and you didn't give me anything to drink. I was a stranger, and you didn't welcome me. I was naked, and you didn't give me clothes. I was sick and in prison, and you didn't visit me." Then they will reply, "Lord, when did we see you hungry or thirsty, or a stranger, or naked, or sick, or in prison, and didn't do anything to help you?" Then he will answer, "I assure you that when you haven't done it for one of the least of these, you haven't done it for me." And they will go away into eternal punishment, but the righteous ones will go on to eternal life. I'm going to show you a picture up on the slides, and I'm wondering how many of you remember these? Can you all see them? Those of you in the choir, you might want to move because I got lots of slides here. Okay. It's the Christmas wish book from Sears. Yeah, you guys remember those? Well, I remember that I could not wait. When I was a kid, I could not wait for the Sears catalog wish book to show up on my doorstep, because that was a sure sign that Christmas was coming. And I remember spending hours sitting on my family room couch, thumbing through that book, looking for all of the things that I wanted, and then turning down the corners of the pages that had the items on there, right? And then, of course, I had to leave that catalog in a conspicuous place where my mama could see it, and she would know exactly what I wanted for Christmas. Problem was, what I didn't realize until many years later was that by the time the Sears wish book had shown up on my doorstep, my Christmas gifts were already bought and paid for and wrapped, because my mama was the kind of person who shopped for Christmas during the summer. Yeah, she was one of those kind of people that those of us who are last-minute shoppers, we love to hate you guys. Yeah. But you know, seeing those catalogs, and by the way, they don't print these anymore. They're all online. But seeing, yeah, it is hard to turn down the corners. But seeing those certainly bring back fond memories for me about Christmas and what it was like for me as a kid. You know, I think we all like to daydream about what we might get for Christmas, don't we? We see the commercials on TV with all the diamond rings and those awesome power tools that we've always wanted to get. And we wonder if maybe this is the year that we'll actually get those items. And you know, some of us have even taken this whole daydreaming thing to a whole nother level, creating lists after list after list of the things that they want for Christmas. We call them wish lists. And in fact, if you go on Amazon, you can even create your own wish list and then send it to other people. Yeah. And you know, some of these wish lists are so long, and they include everything from the sublime to the ridiculous. But then we have to figure out a way to communicate those lists. And those of us who are old school, we have problems with that. You know, you young folks, you figured it out pretty easily that you can do that electronically. But you know, it got me to thinking, maybe somebody ought to figure out how or develop a Christmas gift registry, kind of like we do for weddings, you know, and for baby showers. I bet somebody's already done that, don't you? Well, let's face it, Christmas has become a time of making and fulfilling wishes. Whether those wishes are altruistic, like wishing for peace on earth, or personal, like wishing for prosperity or fulfillment, or material, like wishing for those new fancy electronic devices that we've always wanted. But I wonder, how does it feel when those wishes are unfulfilled? There's a story written by the Reverend Arlie Fadness from Shalom Lutheran Church in Harrisburg, South Dakota. It's a story about a little boy named Jason, and Jason is 8 years old. Jason lives in a place called the Land of Puzzling Tales. And, you know, my daughter Erica, when she was young, we used to call Erica's world, you know, kind of backwards because, you know, the sky wasn't blue, it was some other color, and everything was different in Erica's world. Well, it was the same way here for Jason in the Land of Puzzling Tales. The unexpected was what always happened. The kids there didn't play football, they played knee ball. And instead of the children going to school, the teachers went to the kids' homes. And in summertime, it was not uncommon to see water freeze, and in the wintertime to see leaves on the trees. You see what I'm saying? Everything was kind of backwards in the Land of Puzzling Tales. Well, it was a strange and funny place, but it came time for Jason's 9th birthday, and he was all excited. But, you know, as usual, the unusual happened. His grandparents were going to come to visit. They came all across country to help him celebrate. But when they arrived, they went to the neighbor's house down the street instead of staying with Jason and his family. When Jason's mother baked his birthday cake, she gave it to the postal carrier instead of to Jason. And when all the neighborhood kids heard that it was Jason's birthday, they exchanged gifts with one another. And Jason got none. There was also a blizzard of birthday cards. So many cards that the post office had to hire more workers in order to take care of the huge volume of cards that were being received and had to be delivered. But since they were all addressed to Jason at the Land of Puzzling Tales, of course, Jason didn't get any. All the kids, the moms, the dads, the grandparents, even a couple of dogs and a parakeet got those cards. But Jason didn't see a single one. Finally, at about 9 o'clock at night, in a fit of frustration and anger, Jason went to the school and he grabbed a cheerleader's megaphone and he went riding down the street on his unicycle, shouting at the top of his lungs, "Whose birthday is it anyway? Whose birthday is it anyway?" I wonder if maybe that's the way Jesus feels When we celebrate Christmas by giving each other gifts and sending each other cards instead of dedicating them to Him. Perhaps it is time for us to pay more attention to what is on Jesus' wish list instead of what's on our own. But how do we know what's on Jesus' wish list? I'm sure that's what's going through your mind, right? I mean, after all, Jesus didn't email us a wish list, did He? But you know, Jesus makes it very clear what is on His wish list, and He does it through the parable of the sheep and the goats. When the Son of Man, that's Jesus, comes again in glory, He will sit on His throne and will separate the sheep from the goats, and the sheep will go on His right and the goats will go on His left. The sheep, says Jesus, will inherit the kingdom. Why? Because they did the things that Jesus wanted. The things that were on His birthday wish list. They fed the hungry and clothed the naked. And when they did, they fed and clothed Jesus. They visited the sick and those who were in prison. And when they did, they visited Jesus. They gave the thirsty something to drink and made the strangers in their midst feel welcome. And when they did, Jesus said, they were also taking care of Him. And you know, the author of the epistle of 1 John, which Howard read earlier today, it was written in support of the gospel message, and it echoed the words of the evangelist when he wrote, if a person has material possessions and sees a brother and sister in need, and that person doesn't care, how can the love of God remain in him? We cannot love by using words, but only through our actions can we truly demonstrate absolute, true love. And that, my friends, is what is on Jesus' wish list. Jesus calls us to love one another and to take care of those who, for whatever reason, cannot take care of themselves. Sounds pretty easy, right? And yet, we come up with 1,000,001 reasons why we can't do it. But Jesus, we say, I can barely make ends meet as it is. Surely you don't expect me to take care of other people when I can barely take care of myself. But Jesus, the economy has been so bad and my investments have taken a dive. Surely you can't expect me to help others when times have been so tough. But Jesus, I'm on a fixed income. But Jesus, we are a small church. But. If Reverend Michael Slaughter were here, he would tell us it's about time for us to get rid of our big butts. Jesus asks us to take whatever we have, no matter how large or how small, and give it away so that others may live, and not let those big butts in our lives get in the way. It really doesn't matter how much we have, because when each of us puts in what we have, what we can, and we pool it together, we have so much more, and God can accomplish great things through us. Together, as a church, we have already collected $500 toward our miracle offering to go toward helping the working poor and the homeless at the Justice Center, through the Justice Center. And another $400 that I know about has been given directly to the Justice Center as a result of our challenge to live more simply so that others might simply live. That's $900, friends. Together, we contributed and put together boxes of food, over 60 food boxes, most of which were given to the families at Wesley Community Center. Again, poor families who were in need. But some of those boxes were also given to others here in the community. And we really had a good time putting those boxes together, didn't we? Oh, yeah. And together, our sidewalk ministry, which is a faith community in its own right, with its own church service. And by the way, we had 22 kids yesterday. Amen. That faith community has collected nearly $50 towards saving lives in Africa. We have saved 4 lives so far in just a few short weeks. And those are just a few of the things that y'all have done since I've been here in the last 6 months. I know that you have done even more before I came and was appointed to this church. But you know, I think we can continue to do more. I would love to see our miracle offering go as high as $2,000. And you know what, folks? We can do it. I know that we can. Because when we each take what is in our hands and give to those who have not, the things that we have, when combined together, can do great things. When we work together, we become God's miracle workers. And that's really what Jesus wants for his birthday. He wants you, and you, and you. He wants your time, your talent, and your treasure. He wants you to serve him by serving God's people, by taking care of the least and the lost. We can make a difference in our world when we focus on Jesus' birthday wish list instead of our own. And we have the ability to make Jesus' wishes come true when we give up some of our own desires and give Jesus what he really wants for his birthday.
Christmas Eve, sitting by the fire, there's a check by every name that's on my list. The packages are wrapped, the cards are written, so much thought in every single gift. But someone's been forgotten when it finally comes to me. Jesus want for Christmas, and what would he have on his wish list? What on earth could I give that he might do? What would Jesus want? Downtown there's colored lights in all the windows, silver bells playing in the square, children running by with happy faces, and such a busy feeling in the air. It's easy to forget sometimes what this day is meant to be. What would Jesus want for Christmas? And what would he have on Jesus.